Hey everyone, today I want to take a look at the budgeting feature inside of NetTrack. We've had some questions recently on how to implement a budget. Now, firstly, I've already set up some accounts here on my NetTrack account. I have securely linked my Bank of America account by clicking on Add Account, searching for Bank of America, and linked through Plaid. You can, of course, always add an account manually here with no bank connection. And so once you make sure you have your accounts all set up and linked, this will then bring in your transactions from those accounts. So all transactions from the accounts will display here in activity, which is important because this is how the budgeting feature will actually get its data from the transactions on the accounts. Now, again, if you're using manual accounts, make sure you go ahead and enter in some transactions here so you can have manual expenses and income that you can enter in for those accounts that you've already created here. In my case, since I've linked securely through Plaid, all of these transactions will already be pulled in directly from my account, thus having to do anything, which is excellent. And so now if we click on the budget tab here, you're going to see the budgeting screen overview. Now, the way budgeting works in NetTrack is what's known as envelope style budgeting, where essentially we do the reverse of traditional budgeting. In traditional budgeting, you set up all of your budgets with money that you don't already have. In envelope style budgeting, we only budget money that we actually have in our accounts today. And this approach makes it much more easy, flexible, and understanding to maintain your budget. So at the top here, we can see ready to assign, which is essentially the total amount of money that we have available to assign to our budget. And you'll also see some credit card payment categories here. These are going to be automatically generated, which will fill in based on the credit card accounts that you have set up. So you can see here, I have a couple of credit card accounts. And of course, we always want to be able to pay back these credit cards, so they will automatically be tracked as part of our budget here, which is very useful. Now, the first thing that we can do inside of our budget is actually configure what accounts are going to contribute to this budget. To do this, click on the three dots in the top right here, and then click on Budget Settings. Now, the budget settings here actually allow you to control what accounts are going to feed into this budget. So in our case, you can see we have all of our accounts feeding in, but you might not want some of these accounts to actually contribute to the budget. For example, I don't want my mortgage affecting my budget, so I'll take that out. Same thing for my student loan. I'll go ahead and also take this out. Now, of course, if you did want your budget to automatically adjust based off of the balance of a loan or mortgage, you can keep these in. In our case, I'll disable this, and I'll go ahead and disable, for example, my 401k. We don't want investment accounts affecting our budget. We only want cash, essentially, that the budget is made up of. And I'll do the same thing for this HSA and IRA. So now we're just left really with our cash accounts, which is exactly what we want. So now we have the actual accounts that we want configured for the budget. The next thing that we can do is create our budget category groups. So click on the options again, and we have the category group. And so these category groups allow us to just pull together multiple envelopes into a single group. So for example, let's say we have a category group for bills. We can add one here. I'll add another one. Let's say we'll add another one here for entertainment, and I'll add one more group and call this household. So you can arrange your groups however you want, depending on the sort of things you want to budget. And of course, you don't need groups at all. This is completely optional. It's just a better way to organize the budget. And so now we have the groups created. The next thing we're going to do is actually add categories, which are essentially spending buckets or envelopes that the budget can then be assigned to. So for example, we can apply a new category to bills, and let's say we have a budget category for rent inside of bills. So now we can see that has appeared here. I'll add another one for, let's say, gas. So we have utilities, and that'll show up here as well. Now, importantly, if you ever make a mistake with a group, so you can see here I accidentally created it inside of credit card payments, simply just long press on it, and here you can edit the category, change the group, or delete it. So I'll go ahead and delete my category. So now you can see these envelopes inside of the bills group. So let's go ahead and continue finishing up this budget. I'll create a couple more categories or envelopes now inside of the other groups. So for entertainment, I'll say we'll have one for movies. Let's say I'll have one for golf. And now lastly, for household, let's add one more. And say we just have a category or envelope for supplies here. And so now at this point, you can see we have a very nice budget formed where we have our 3 groups that we can open and close at any point. And at this point, we're now ready to actually assign the money we have inside of our budget. So you can see here, this is the working total of all of the money we have from the budget accounts that we've configured. That's what this total down here is. So this, of course, subtracts any sort of credit card liability payments that we currently have and adds any cash we have so that we're left with the final number. And this is the source of truth, is ready to assign. This is the amount of money that we have the ability to spend based off of any liabilities and current cash that we have at this point. And now this is the fun point, because here we can actually now assign this money to our budget envelopes. So let's say, for example, I want to assign some money to rent. Simply just click on the envelope you want and add your rent here. So let's say I have an expensive rent. Just enter in the amount you want. You can also subtract from the group or move money between your groups here using the move function. In our case, I just want to now add 4,500, and that's going to subtract it from ready to assign and move it into rent. And we'll do the same thing for the rest of the groups here. So let's say I want to add into gas. I'll add some more into entertainment, golf, and household supplies. Let's say we have a very expensive month. And let's say I want to create one more budget category called savings, where we're going to put the rest of our money, because we still have all of this money left over, but now we still want to be able to include money in our savings accounts here. So I'll add one more category called savings, put it into the savings group. And now you can also click assign all at the top here to move all of the money at once from ready to assign to any category. So I'll move the rest of it into savings. And now at this point, our ready to assign is at 0. This is what we want to see. This means all of the money we currently have minus our liabilities is allocated to places in our budget. And this is the beauty of the envelope style budgeting, because at this point we know exactly what we can spend at any point in time based on the money we actually have. And it makes it really powerful, because now just by looking at a glance, I can see, oh, okay, I have $500 for movies this month. Let's go ahead and spend this guilt-free. We don't have to worry, because we know we've already allocated the rest of the money to all of the other categories we want. And of course, you can build out your budget in any way that works for you and your household. Now, one last feature we need to talk about is keeping your budget in line as new transactions hit your accounts. So let's go ahead and see how this works. To do this, I'm going to go ahead and add a couple of dummy transactions. So let's say we have a bill for $150 called movies. We went to see the movies with our family. It was a bit expensive. I'll just create a new transaction here. So we'll just fill out all the details, and you can assign it to any account. It does not matter. It can be a credit card or it can be cash. We'll just leave that as a credit card, and I'll go ahead and save this. And let's add one more. Let's say we have transaction of $250 from Amazon for some household goods. So we'll categorize this and save the transaction. So now let's go back to the budget. Here, you'll notice we have this new banner telling us that 2 transactions need categorizing. And what this means is the system has detected that there's new transactions, but we don't know which envelope we actually have to subtract these new transactions from. And that's what we do here by clicking on this banner, it's going to allow us to choose where we want to subtract this money from in our budget. So now this movies transactions that got registered, I'll click on this, and then we can assign this to the appropriate category. So in this case, we know that this was from the movies and we want to subtract this from our movies budget. So simply click on movies and Amazon will say household supplies. And now if we scroll down, you'll notice that we've automatically subtracted that transaction from the movies category. We now only have $350 remaining, and same thing for the household supplies, which is awesome. This means this is working as expected. Now, importantly, let's do one more test here. If we try to add another transaction for $75 for some golfing that we went and did, say general services, and let's say this is from our checking account, and I'll save this here. Now if we go back into our budget, I'll assign this to golf. You'll notice we have this new warning here telling us a category is overspent. So now if we scroll down, you'll see that golf has minus $50 because we've exceeded what our budget can handle. So now we need to resolve this because we don't want any categories to be in the negative. This means our budget is out of line. So what we can do is click this and take money from a different category. So let's say this month we'll take this $50 extra from movies and now move it to cover golf. And now our budget is back in line. And we can see the flexibility that this approach offers us. It gives us the power and confidence to spend freely without having to micromanage and worry, because we know at all points in time where our budget actually is and how much money we have to spend. So hopefully this quick overview was helpful for you in NetTrack budgeting. Please let us know if you have any further questions. You can always reach out to us in settings and click on the message bubble here. Just let us know at any point if you want more help. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.